And we are now live. So thank you everyone for joining us today at the Retribe Talk. Today, Ruth McBryan from the Prison Leavers Coffee Shop in Neal's Yard in Covent Garden is going to be joining us today. Ruth, I'm very, very excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for joining us. And I know you're doing well because you're in a Christmas jumper.
Absolutely. It's necessary. The amount of people on the tube that had them under their coats today, it was good to see.
Yeah, it is good. It's good that with all the stuff that's going on, at least people there are people who are trying, and for me, Christmas has always been a really awesome time of year because it just meant family.
Yeah.
But last week I got to warn you, we got into kind of with my guest, there was some talk around kind of children and the struggles it can be, and I cried. So I want to try to stay away from emotional stuff today because it is Christmas, but I know it for many it's a difficult time of year. So I suppose we will just put our hands out and try to help as many people as we can. Yeah. But can you explain to the community what you do and your role, the coffee shop, and how you got into this kind of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work for the Message Trust, which is a bigger national organisation, and we're part of the. So they're based in Manchester, and then we've got hubs around the UK and around the world. So we're the London hub, and we had the opportunity to lease this premises we've got here at Neal Street in Covent Garden from a Christian charity who own property all over London. And it was the opportunity to do our first, we call them enterprise business. Enterprise, it's not really a business, but it's our enterprise project. So we're running it as a coffee shop, and it is a place where we can employ ex-offenders or those at risk of offending, to give them the opportunity to have a 2-year job. It's like a job placement. So at the end of 2 years, it's like a strict 2-year thing. And then so over those 24 months, I'm sure I'll unpack it a bit later, but there's a whole kind of, I've been working on like a whole overview of the 2 years. So it's not just on work for us, there's a whole kind of holistic wraparound of care and all sorts. So it's more than employment. Our place is more than just a business. It's very much the people before the business, and any profits we make go straight back into the work that we're doing. Hope that answer the question enough.
Yeah, it does. And like you said, we'll get a little bit more into it, but I'm interested to know about you and an awful lot of things on your bio that are about being of service and trying to help people. And I'm curious because we know that those like purpose and passion are just things that drive us. But for a lot of people, they kind of look at jobs and they look at the bottom line and they look at mortgages, they look at making money. Where the work that you're involved in is really about it, there's not a lot of financial reward, for a lot of people who are in these, everything from a nurse to, an ambulance driver to people who work for charities. Where does the spark come from you in here to put yourself to be in a place of service with people?
For me, so our organisation is Christian. So for me, a lot of what I do is it's out of the faith I've got is that, it's not the faith that makes it do things. It's just that, it's kind of one with the other. It's, I don't, it's not just, for me, it's not helping people to look good or do it because I need to. It's just kind of that heart to want to do something that helps people have a better life, or any way that can, improve their lives from if they're struggling where they are. When I left university, I got kind of any job out of university, which was in the business world. I started off as a receptionist and kind of built my way up. But I didn't enjoy it. I got headhunted by a local charity in the area of London I lived in, and it meant halving my salary. It meant kind of living very, very tightly. But the freedom I felt from leaving that kind of business world I was in and just the pressures of it to actually doing something. So it's a youth and schools work charity, and I loved it, and I could use the skills I've got in admin and just helping that charity run. And then that charity merged with this one, which is how I am where I am now. But I just much prefer being able to help people, and I'm not the kind of person that's like you know, up on stage talking or something. It's more kind of background, kind of working alongside people. And so with this role, it's great that you know, because of, you know, being in sort of running business centres and things like that, I'm able to then, with guys that we're going to get coming through our project, I can kind of look through, you know, helping them put together a CV or getting them job ready. So at the end of the time, we'll get them, the aim is to have them job ready at the end of the 2 years. So helping with, you know, interview skills, things like that. Things like even help buying clothes for interviews, having the right kind of, you know, I'm guessing they probably wouldn't have a suited and booted job, but even just, you know, we're offering at the beginning of their time, if they want to put a bit of money aside, they get at the end. So if they choose to do that, they'll have a little bit of a pot of money to then go and get, you know, whether it's shirts or trousers or whatever it is, that depends what they go into. But I just, yeah, it's just that kind of, it's that working side by side with someone over a period of time and just helping them to grow in confidence and skills, and just, yeah, getting to a place where actually they can, you know, they don't need hand holding, they can just hold down a job, and yeah, just feel confident in it as well. That's really important to me. So yeah, that's why I do what I do, I guess.
It's beautiful. I actually, right now, I'm at the House of St. Barnabas in Soho, and yeah, I don't know if you know, that's a charity club, that members club that really, they have every term and semester, they have about 12 to 18 people go through an education process so that they can learn, just getting back into the job market. And I'm you know, as we speak, and a lot of the guests that we've had on here before, it just always brings me down to systems, you know, social, economic systems that are so entrenched in our society and where we're put, and the systems that don't favor the majority of people, because, you know, there are a lot of people who, you know, right to education. So, you know, might not feeling like they fit in education, but they need some kind of connection or community. So they tend to kind of go off a wayward path, you know, and a lot of the times crime is involved, and then they get into that system. And it's a system that once you're in it is very hard to get out of. But it seems like society is always pointing fingers, you know, and it's always their fault, they're wrong, they're not good people, and not honoring, you know, where they've come from, childhood trauma, you know, not getting an appropriate education, or even the things that their education system's teaching kids nowadays, which are the basics about how to get a job, you know.
Yeah.
So it's systems, or every education, the corporate world, and I suppose you must feel a lot of frustration, because a lot of your work is kind of fixing individuals rather than the systems. You know, where do you think we're going to get to? Everything that's going on, where there will be a thing of, you know, how can we change the systems so that charities like this are no longer needed?
I think, I mean, I'm still fairly new to this sector, in terms of working with prison leavers, and I'm still very much finding my feet. And what I'm finding, the more I talk to prison staff or governors, there's so many costs being cut, even within like prison staff and support, and I just think there's so much to be done with rehabilitation. It's not just locking people away and just kind of, you know, forgetting about them or whatever. There's real there's so much in getting to know people, you know, finding out, like you say, the root of their reasonings, or you know, for some people it's the wrong place at the wrong time, or they're, you know, I mean, for someone else, you know, you don't know the reasons. You know, there's I don't know what the statistics are for people that, you know, aren't in, you know, haven't done what they've been sentenced for, and I just think there's, you know, I work with a lot of chaplaincy teams, or we you know, whether it's visits, or, you know, we partner with one chaplaincy team in particular, but it's you know, relationship is built through getting to know people, giving them that space to drop in and have someone hear them, listen to them. The guys we work with are guys that have become Christians and found faith in prison, and, you know, one of our team here, he just, you know, and he's in his 50s, and he's been in and out of prison most of his life, and it's fun, you know, he could tell who was very genuine, who was wanting to help him get his life sorted out, give him real opportunities. And I think so often, like you say, people are written off, there's a campaign going to kind of not have on job applications whether you're an offender or not, so you're not prejudged, so you know opportunities aren't closed straight away. And I think there's a lot of prejudice, and I think it is I'd love to get to a place where there's less prejudice about why someone's an ex-offender, you know, kind of it's people have a lot of fear, and I'd love to get to the point where organizations like ourselves and every other place that's you know doing similar can just just break down people's stereotypes. We had one customer came in the other day apparently, and he was just like, which one of you's the offender? And it's like, that shouldn't be the question, you know. It's not, or don't sit there and try and work it out, you know. It's hard. It's like this is a place that's bringing hope and change and opportunities, and a safe place as well. It's a guaranteed job for 2 years. I don't have to worry about, you know, we're a bit more lenient with obviously, you know, stuff gets dealt with, but you know, we are more lenient with process slightly, and you know, with sitting down and going through issues, whereas some places, you know, they might not be as understanding. But yeah, I would love for there to not be such a stigma around, oh, they've been in prison, I'm going to keep a distance, because everyone's got a story, everyone's got you know, like issues, reasons, you know. It's just kind of it's crossing those barriers and getting to know those people, and just to not just, you know, we call our guys team members, so they're not labelled as ex-offenders for the rest of their time. You know, and it's not like they have a separate uniform or anything to the rest of the guys. It's just they're part of our team, and you know, we're helping them get to a more employable place, and you know, so they've got 2 years solid job that can take them on to somewhere else.
Funny, because I've been in those places. You know, I've worn orange. It wasn't really befitting my color, but it was something where I thought I would never be there. You know, how did I get there? And I don't know what it is, Ruth. I don't know what it is, the color of my skin or my age now or how I present myself, but I don't feel as judged as a lot of people who are of Black and brown bodies. And they get looked at differently, and I think it's about the stigma and judgment that we all have towards people who have offended somewhere along their lives. And I don't know how, like, apart from speaking about it, I don't know how to get into it, because I even find myself in a place of judgment sometimes when I'm walking down the street if somebody looks a certain way. And it seems like it comes down to individual work. We as a society need to do individual work to create a more compassionate balance in our lives as individuals. And then it kind of resonates outward. But I don't know a lot of people who are doing that kind of work, you know, like everyone's just in so much fear. Everyone is in so much need to try to look a certain way. And I think when you talk to people, they're like, oh, that's not me. That's not me. But when everyone really gets down to a bit of work, people are putting on an image because they're scared of how they're going to be perceived. And it's really, really easy to judge others when you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin. And I know that's kind of a heavy statement, but it really is a call out to the world we need to start doing some work on ourselves. Yeah. Because we've all been trapped into this idea of this capitalistic society, and we need this stuff to elevate and to be look good, when really, for me, what I've found is, and I'm sure you, it's helping others. I mean, if someone were to say to me, what's the secret to life? I know it. It's help others. You know, I believe that's why we are on this planet. We're not here to take from one another. Yeah. We're here to help one another.
And we're all able to do it, no matter how small or big. It's not difficult. No.
So why a coffee shop? How did the idea of that come around?
It's a good question. There's one. We have one at our head office in Manchester. We have quite a large one, and the way they did it in Manchester was everything, because we have many sort of different branches of the organisation, but everything came out of a need. So originally, the guy who founded the charity, he ran a business and employed lads from Manchester, but he was finding that they were from such broken places. They kind of needed, like, it was getting to the root of their stuff. So then something called Eden started, which was missionaries. I think you hear the word missionary, you think, oh, it goes out to other countries, but missionaries were moving onto these estates because, you know, trying to get very, very, you know, broken lads from estates into, you know, sort of churches that don't understand where they're coming from. So they started Eden, where it's people living among, you know, sort of, it's in the kind of the bottom 10% areas of deprivation in the UK. So you've got people living in those communities, just trying to help, do what they can, and doing church that's relevant to communities. And then out of that came, obviously, you know, people they were getting to know were going to prison, and when they were coming out, there was no opportunities. So then the enterprise side was, I think I'm telling this right, but the enterprise side was then started because it was then creating opportunities for people that had got in, you know, were in relationship with guys on their estates and whatever, like caring relationship. They then had opportunities, so they set up the coffee shop, and there's been other businesses over the years like bike repairs and maintenance and hair salons and stuff like that. So they've had quite a few different, so people can just train, get skills. In Manchester, we also have there's like a house that a couple run, that when the guys come out of prison, they go in there for either 12 or 18 months at a time. So they're just kind of, because part of the problem is you get back into your old, you're either dragged back in by old contacts, or you're going back to a tough lifestyle or something. So we've also got a house in Manchester that can support, you know, just trying to sort of change your old patterns and your old ways and things like that. So that's where it started. And the coffee shop, I think, is quite an easy, because there's such a buzz around coffee now, you know, kind of, especially like specialized coffee, independent roasters, that kind of, there's people will never not want coffee. I think people always want to go and whether they're working on their laptops or they want to meet a friend for coffee, there's always such a, you know, it's a bit of a no-brainer really. We got offered this premises that was a cafe, but we've kind of gutted it and overhauled it and changed it. And we had a guy working with us who he roasts his own coffee, so he helped us set up the coffee shop. And so we had someone we could we employed for that time of establishing it, and it makes sense. It's there's different, you know, so one of our guys is with us now, getting better at actually making the coffee, but he's great. He'll go and chat to the customers, clear tables, you know. You don't have to be a great barista. There's some, you know, there's other roles to do. There's a lot going on in prisons. There's a couple of charities that have roasteries inside prisons, so they've, you know, so it's an opportunity for, I think they're both in male prisons, so, you know, when the guys come out, they could get a job. It's creating employment and skills straight away. And it just, again, I can't answer fully why, because I don't actually know the vision of, you know, the vision from the charity before I worked here. But for me, again, it goes back to it's a public window to, again, change perceptions.
Yeah.
You know, people might come in thinking they're gonna, and I would say at the moment you couldn't tell who's an ex-offender and who's our staff, who's our team, because you genuinely couldn't. And it's partly because, you know, one of our guys is in his 50s, so I think people don't always think about ex-offenders. I think they think of like younger lads or whatever. But it's just opportunity. It's again, it's skills with the public, with customers, with liaising. I mean, we're a cashless coffee shop, so, you know, there's no temptation with money or anything like that. But there's opportunities to go into different hospitality. Part of what I want to bring in is if we get guys, because it's going to be a rolling program for us. If you know, someone joins us who wants to specialize in something, then I'd love to source a course they could do that would, you know, if they wanted to not do coffee or roasting, or they could do something else, then, you know, I can help find something that they could do. But it's a place where they can get into routine. You know, it's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. You know, they've got a safe place to come, work on their timekeeping, work on their even just you know, some people may have never worked as part of a team before. And it's just all those basic skills I think we all take for granted from, you know, whether we've worked at, you know, jobs, you know, when we're at school or at uni, or, you know, like, you know, when we start out in our 20s, but some people have never had that. So it's just having that safe space to grow and learn, and yeah, just kind of change character slightly. And yeah, and you know, it's not perfect. There's been a few incidents, and we sit down and we, you know, again, it's a safe place where if there's like an incident between two of the guys, we'll just give each one the space to say, you know, what their grievance was, whatever, and then just yeah, then we move on from it. It's, you know, you don't kind of sit stewing in it or whatever, but it's a safe place, and it's coffee, which is, you know, what so many people are into, really. So, and the fact that here also is it's a specialty coffee shop. I think, you know, quite often we get people walking towards Monmouth and they see the sign and they come in and go, oh, I didn't know this was here. And, you know, we've nabbed Monmouth without meaning to. So yeah.
You know, the thing that I was thinking about as you were talking is community, you know, and I think that's the thing, is like community is connection. It's like feeling part of like some people around you, and creating a safe space. Like I think coffee shops, as you said, are just awesome for that, because pubs can be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And you know, like you did mention hair salons and barbershops, and I think whenever like we go around London, there's always, you know, places where men can come together. And I think that's the important thing, is it's rather than these healthy safe spaces, rather than, you know, behind council estates trying to plot how to make a bit of cash.
Yeah.
And feeling part of that in terms of the safe space. What really came into mind too is that you give men spaces to express their emotions. And I think that's a key too, because for so long we're not given space, or we're not even given the language on how we're feeling. You know, oh, I'm upset with so and so because they did this to me. Instead, it's bottled in and it comes out in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's super important. I really like the fact that you guys are doing that and allowing men to be able to actually, hey, this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Exactly.
So important. Yeah. What's the idea for the future of these shops? Do you want to try to have more? Do you want to, like, is it something that you, I don't want to say we're the franchise, but, or do you want to go into other models of community where you can get people together in other ways?
I think so. I mean, we're not, the way we're doing it slightly different in London to Manchester. I mean, we've got our hub in Cape Town has an amazing coffee shop and roastery and all sorts. But the way, I think the thing with London that differs to Manchester slightly is that there's so many people doing things. If we were to set up and be like, we're doing this on our own, that's it doesn't fit. So we're doing a lot in partnership with kind of support agencies, and like I say, with chaplaincy, and in terms of building up our pipeline for getting applicants to join our program. But I would love to see more done, but I would want to do it not for the sake of just expanding ourselves, but actually, you know, what is the need? And you know, whether that is a different business isn't the right word, but a different industry, or whether it is another coffee shop somewhere else. It's just seeing what's next. We don't really, you know, we're still so new here. We opened here in February or March 2020, probably got closed, and it was kind of that open close the whole time. So it's still, you know, we're still, you know, I think we reopened properly in April here, as did every hospitality got reopened. But so we're still, you know, we have April to now is the longest we've been open in one hit, sadly. But yeah, I would love to see more, just so we have more opportunities as well. I mean, as you know, as my role kind of overseeing all the team members we have, you know, I'd like to see the program get a bit more established, and obviously we're gonna, I'm sure we're gonna learn from mistakes, and but yeah, I'd love to see once we're more established here, I'd love to see more, just as I said, to give more opportunity, because it's not the biggest coffee shop. We can only take a certain amount of people. But yeah, I'd love to see more, and just give more opportunities and more again, just another window for people to see, whether it's, I don't know, whether it's like, I mean, a lot of guys I know and have met, they go into labouring because it's good money for not a lot of work and stuff. So not sorry, as in low maintenance work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think it would be seeing and working with the guys we have coming through, asking them, and just yeah, just seeing what the need is, whether that's a totally different industry or whether it's more, whether it's partnering with another organisation. I don't know. I mean, we don't have a lot of you know, it need a lot of prayer and financing basically, but yeah, because we're very, very blessed to have a good deal here, renting from this charity that we do. But yeah, I would, sorry, very long-winded answer, but I would just love to see it.
Okay.
Purely for the team members themselves, not for accolade or for, you know, kind of our own stats and stuff. It's just so there's more opportunity. So whether that is beauty industry or hairdressing or whatever. Yes.
I think that the aim is to give options, you know, and I think that will grow in time. But the things that came to mind too is that as you're doing this, is I'm imagining some of the guys, you know, who get in there and it's hard, and it's like learning how to be a barista, or learning how to even clear tables properly, and to be customer facing. I mean, it's a challenge. And they're growing and they're changing. And I think what's really cool is that when these people start going through this transformation, what they're doing is they're actually giving other men hope, and then also getting into a prevention role. So I suppose you guys, you know, as men start going through it, they can start telling their stories and going back into the places that they came from and say, hey guys, there's other ways. So like in terms of prevention, would there be any I don't know, anything that you guys would look at with getting these men into being able to tell their stories to, you know, maybe even young people at school, and then maybe going back into the prisons and talking to the guys there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the biggest thing is to stop the cycle of reoffending as well, and even being very aware, because we're such a, you know, it's quite a cozy bubble being here, being aware of the self-sabotage towards the end of the 2 years as well, that, you know, they're kind of trying to break down that fear of leaving here to do something else. But we do sort of church visits to promote what we do, and some conferences and things like that. So some of our guys get the opportunity to speak there, but then we're also very aware of not just going, here's someone, shove them out on stage, like, you know, kind of making a real example of them if they're not comfortable, or even having it go to their head. They're like, oh, I'm the poster boy for, you know, what they're doing in London. So there is a real balance. But I mean, you know, their stories get shared in our like our charity-wide like publications and stuff. One of our guys had a 3-page article about his story, and he any customer that came in, he'd just tell them all about it. And so I got it framed and put up in the shop. So now he just goes, here it is on the wall, and he loves telling people about it.
What's the story? What's the story?
What's his story? It's, you know, he's been in and out of prison all of his life. It was just his transformation, basically, you know, finally breaking. I mean, working here has been the longest he hasn't been recalled back in. He's just, you know, he's in his 50s, and he's been in and out of prison since he was a young offender, basically, many decades ago. So, but he loves talking about God, you know, because he found God in prison for himself. You know, it was just, I think he got to that point where he just went, I need help, you know, I need something to change, and you know, God changed his life. He's very open about as well. He loves telling customers. And then we've got all of our staff wear Ask Me My Story on their back. So you know, people can get the opportunity to share their story. And then we've also had cards made. So when it's really, because there's a balance of if it's busy in the shop, because one of our guys loves to talk for hours and hours. So we've had these QR codes done on cards. So if someone does say, oh, what's your story, and there's no time, that a card can be given out, and then that takes them to the story on our website. Yeah, going back into prison is tricky, because it depends how long you've been out for, and if they want to visit the prison they've come from, there's a certain amount of time. You can't go back in for a certain amount of years, because obviously the prison's going to think that it's there's an underlying reasons. It's not like it depends which governors you speak to. We've got one governor who would love to have one of our guys back, but you have to kind of be very careful. But yeah, we would love to get, and at the moment it would probably be done through chaplaincy, because it's a restricted space and it's a one-off visit. But yeah, I would love to get, and if team members want to, that chance to go back in and share their story, to encourage others, to motivate others, and to say, like you said, there's other ways. They don't, just to inspire, and just say, look, you can change, you can, you can go straight. It sounds so, that's not quite the right phrase, but yeah, just, and it's hard because if you're used to handling, doing one illegal job that gives you thousands, but then having to work, or do a 9 to 5 that doesn't give you so much, it's hard. There must be a real kind of you must have to really retrain your mind to be like, no, I'm gonna do an honest job, and but
courage.
Yeah,
such courage. And it, and I look at the guys, and I've seen a few that have dug deep and said exactly what you talked about with that gentleman. It's like, enough is enough, I need help.
Yeah.
And those two words, help me, can just save lives, because we're always taught, especially in this kind of unbalanced masculine world. I try to not use the word toxic masculinity, but this imbalance of our masculine traits, and this thing that we're, the inability to say help me to anybody, or to show your emotions, or to cry.
Yeah.
And I believe it's a root of a lot of our problems today, is that a lot of men just don't have the space to show their emotions, or the language of what to say, because we're feeling these things. What's this feeling?
Yes.
Why am I feeling like this? Why am I sweating? Why are my palms like this? Why is my tummy like this? Why is my head going crazy? And I think that when I speak, because there's a lot of amazing motivational speakers out there that charge £5,000 an hour to come in and talk to corporations, but when I work, or I hear of guys in the recovery community that have, just come from, an institution, and then said enough is enough, and they worked really hard, and then they're making a minimum wage job, I'm inspired more by them than any $5,000 an hour speaker. Yeah, truly like courageous, and just what's the word I'm looking for, just tough, and able to kind of to make it through it. And I mean, I get inspired by it all the time. So definitely I'm hoping that in the new year I'll be able to come by and ask a few guys their stories.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Obviously, like this holiday time and the COVID situation is putting a lot of spanners in a lot of people's plans. But what have you guys got planned over the holiday time?
Well, being a coffee shop, we had this debate of, do we? I say we. I'm not the coffee shop staff, but do we keep the shop open between Christmas and New Year? Do we give everyone a break? And unfortunately, where it should be the busiest time at the moment, it's been so quiet. Like as I said to you before, this Saturday just gone was one of the quietest Saturdays have been for probably since everything started. Everything reopened again. Because of the announcement Boris made. I think people have been hesitant to come to London. So it is right that the coffee shop manager has said, look, let's shut between Christmas and New Year. And again, it's putting people ahead of the business. Really, it's giving everyone a good break. We haven't got anyone on our team at the moment who struggles. Has got kind of unsettled family environments or home environments. So it's just a good chance for everyone just to be with family, rest and recharge. It would be different. We're aware as our team builds that actually you know, a routine over Christmas may be what's more important in terms of opening between Christmas and New Year, just to keep, because it's you know, it's nearly 2 weeks, isn't it, really, or 10 days of having, you know, that could be a tricky time in terms of not being, you know, tempted to, oh, I'll just meet up with these guys, or I just, you know, and having that kind of out of routine.
Yeah.
But for this year, yeah, everyone's having a good break at home, because there's no issues with anyone at the moment. But this time next year, you know, who knows, we'll have, you know, joining us, and it will be reviewed again.
What will you be doing over
What
the
will I be
holidays?
doing? I will be well, me and my husband and my child, we all have these jumpers, so we'll be wearing our matching jumpers, and hopefully, pending what is said this evening from dear Boris, yeah, we'll have my husband's mother will come, my parents will come, and another close friends of ours and their little girl, who's the same age as my daughter, they're coming as well. So there'll be how many of us? So yeah, it's the biggest number we've had to squeeze around our dining table for Christmas dinner. So it's lovely. So it's family and friends. Our friends have, for various reasons, aren't with their families. So yeah, we just kind of opened up our house. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be chaos. We don't have the biggest downstairs in our house, but yes, it's great. I'm looking forward to it. Just some time. My husband's a tube driver, so he doesn't get much time off. But yeah, it'd just be nice, just be a family downtime.
Yeah. Sounds like there'll be some carol singing. No.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do church. Yeah, I mean, we'll go to, there's a kids service on Christmas Eve. I'll take my daughter to, and then we'll go to church, obviously. But yeah, we'll see if our child's stage of life survives meltdowns at Christmas and all those lovely things. Being two, you never know with her. Yeah. So
I was always taught just to expect that there will be the throwdowns. That's what happens, right?
Yes, yeah, she's quite good generally, but who knows? But yeah, it's just a nice time to see friends and family. And then my husband's sister has 4 daughters, and they're all coming up Boxing Day, so the chaos continues. So yeah, it's always fun having them all. They're all under, they're between 3 and 8, so it's busy. But yeah, it's just family. It's just nice to be around everyone, and obviously I'll be checking in with our guys here, make sure everything's all right. But yeah,
it's really different for me because I'm the baby of my family, and I got spoiled rotten. And so Christmas, that's why I say Christmas was always really great for me, because it was just full of people, like presents and lots of food, you know. And now I'm at an age where I've got, you know, my partner has some children, a 5-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And I'm so excited that I can see Christmas in children, you know, because for me, that I was the baby child, so it's all about that. And now I get to see it on the opposite side. So I'm super excited about Christmas.
I like making the effort for my daughter, for her just to have all these experiences and stuff. Because Christmas, I'm an only child, and my family's quite quiet, and Christmas was kind of very, very low key. Whereas now I'm just like Christmas, like I just kind of go nuts, you know, kind of. Yeah, I'm like, let's go and see Santa and go on this Christmas train, and you know, kind of try and make as much of a.
I know, I'm dragging them around. Let's go to Winter Wonderland. Let's do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's just play PlayStation.
Yeah, it's like, I will make memories. Come on. So yeah, just trying to make, you know, things like let's drive around and look at the lights, and you know, all kinds of bits and just stuff to remember, because my child has a scarily good memory already. So just trying to do things that she'll enjoy, and then next year she'll be like, oh, can we do this again? And
beautiful.
So
is the coffee shop open now, or is it closed already?
Yes, it's open now.
When's your last day? When's the last day of the coffee shop? I might swing by there.
I think they're closing on the 23rd.
Okay, so I've got another couple of days. That's gives me something to do with the boys, because I'm looking after them for a few days. So
no, absolutely, come down. Do
you have good cakes?
Yeah, we do. Sadly, here the license for this premises stops us. We can't prepare food here, so everything has to be bought in, or just kind of like toasties or things on toast or whatever. We're very limited what we can serve. But yeah, there's a good array of cakes and sausage rolls and mince pies, and I've got a brownie calling my name in a minute when I go back to my desk. So yeah, no, there's.
I'm only around the corner from you, right? I might beat you to that brownie.
Well, I've got a hot chocolate on the go as well, which is a nice sort of winter warmer mugs and stuff. So yeah, no, it's there's got we're really blessed. We've got the made.com showroom around the corner, and they give away their ex-display things to charity. When we first opened, we had lots of benches, like wooden benches and things like that, and slowly over time we've now got like armchairs, sofas. It's brilliant. So there's so many cozy corners. People just love coming in and just being a bit cozy, and hot drink and a cake, and it's
can't wait. I can't wait to swing by. I'm sure I'll find a chair that has my perfect bum position in it. Yeah. It is the 21st of December. It's the day that it starts getting lighter. I know this. For anyone who's struggling, there's always that phrase: "It's always darkest before the dawn." And I love being able to put something out there on days like today, and to let people know that it's starting to get brighter. And the local coffee shop is always, or people. There are people out there, and I found that reaching out to people was always my go-to, because when I was in those places when I was alone and I wasn't feeling great, though I didn't have the ability to reach out. So I like to say to people, don't be afraid to look for the people who they're great. Oh, I'm good. They're the ones that probably need an extra text or a phone call or a knock on the door if you can. Yeah, just to say, hey, how are you? And just listen, just be there for someone to listen to. We all, like I say, it's I like this time of year because it gives people hope. It's a hopeful time of year for me. So I hope anybody who's listened to this, please feel free to reach out. Ruth, thank you for joining us. What are going to be your immediate plans in the new year? How can people get in touch with you if they're interested in the programs, or maybe being able to help you guys out in any way?
I mean, the biggest thing, when we have conference space here. We have a meeting space, which we work in as a team once a week. And then other than that, it's empty. Not empty, but as in it's available. So I guess, and obviously the revenue from that funds what we do. So if anyone in central London is looking for somewhere to, anything from a video conference to, we had people, an organization come, or a business come, they wanted somewhere to get their models ready for a shoot they did in Covent Garden. So we we had them coming in with hair and makeup and all sorts of the other week. So if anyone's looking for somewhere to work from or whatever, that kind of stuff is really helpful. If anyone does a similar project, or is a like a support agency or anything like that, I would love to have conversations with anyone doing a similar thing, or could say, actually, your team members could benefit from X, Y, and Z. And then if anyone's got any advice, because like I say, we're still quite new. We've got the support from our head office, but yeah, just any advice, any kind of support like that would be amazing. I'd love to have conversations of, or if anyone's done similar and is like, got pointers, and come down, be customers, come down, and all the money that goes through the till goes into this project. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing really, is supporting how you can, with the reward of a meeting space or a coffee or a cake or whatever it is. So yeah.
Beautiful. I will definitely be down. I know when Melissa met you, she was like, Nick, we need to get to work with these people. So they're very aligned with what we're doing. So I think in the new year, you, me, and Mel will probably sit down and we can talk about that space, and looking forward to, hopefully we can collaborate in 2022.
Absolutely. That sounds really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Ruth, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. Happy holidays to you and your family. And thank you so much for your service and what you are doing for your community.
Thank you so much. God bless.
And you. Thanks everyone for joining us. Don't forget, you can join me on Thursday at 11 a.m. for our Tough to Tender workshop. We'll see you all later. Happy holidays. Bye, everybody.